Our first order of business is for me to open a public hearing on proposed amendment number 1, fiscal year 25 county budget. Is there anyone here to speak on that?
Good morning. Yep, fiscal year 25 budget amendment. And this year we have several line items in the expenditures that we have to amend. The one is public safety and legal services. That's within the sheriff's department. And again, that's just timing. I talked to Steve Dolan yesterday and a couple other people about this. It's timing of the radio project. As you all know, several fiscal years ago, we levied a one-time levy to pay for the radios, and the rest of it came out of American Rescue Plan funds and then some of our general fund carryover. And I would have thought that the project would have been completed by now. It still has not. We had a lot of the expense actually in this fiscal year 25. And to date, I talked to Mike Garrett yesterday, and we still owe about $198,000 on the project. There's a couple of things that he wants them to get corrected and stuff before he feels comfortable about signing off on the project. So again, that's money that taxes have been collected. It's been set aside for this project, and it is almost done. Being paid for. The other large one that we need to amend is administration, and that's an American Rescue Plan Fund item as well. In 2022, the county formed a committee of folks that worked here, and different departments were asked to bring projects to the forefront that they might feel was beneficial to the citizens of Dickinson County in a whole. And so they kind of interviewed for those, and then they were voted on by the Board of Supervisors to go ahead with the projects. One of those projects being the county recorder and Dinsworth and myself decided to digitize our books, and downstairs in the basement of the courthouse has hundreds and hundreds of deed record books. And just in the event that, we had a fire and stuff, it's important to, keep those historically going forward. And we just never really felt like that we had the funds nor the opportunity to do that project. And so that was one of them that went forward. We started that project in the fall of 22, being told that it would be completed within 15 months. Well, here we go, and the final expense just came in February. So that's an American Rescue Plan Fund that we had the money for. We just had allocated it in another year, and it's a timing issue. And then some of the revenue that we were just needing to amend, or what is just interest on investments. We had some good returns on Chris's iPaid investments. And then several years ago, the county had to do a new hazmat mitigation plan, and then we get some state funding back for that. That came in this fiscal year, so I'm amending that as well. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
Is that an outside source that comes in, or a different company that comes in and digitalizes our archive?
Yes, yep. It was a place out of Ohio, and a guy was here actually for like 5 or 6 weeks and had like a scanner about this big and took the books all apart and scanned all the pages. And yeah, and now they're online too, so people can view them free. I mean, a lot of abstractors. It's a really good program to have. So.
Do we still have the books?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in case he missed a page.
Yes, and they did when they were doing their review before they closed the project out. The guy did come up. He thought he'd missed some pages, and then the book indeed was blank on those pages. So, and he also did like our historic drainage books and historic supervisor minutes books too.
Oh, wow.
So.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Item number 3 is, number 3 is the approval of resolution 2025-14, amendment to fiscal year 25 county budget.
Be it resolved by the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors that the amended budget for fiscal year 25 be approved as published in the official newspaper of the county on Thursday, April 17th, 2025.
Okay, would anyone like to, make a motion on that?
Motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kim. It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
Mr. Dollard?
Aye.
Levi?
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Item number 4 is approval of resolution 2025-15, amendment to fiscal year 25 department appropriations.
Appropriations amendment changing departmental appropriations, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Dickinson County has held a public hearing pursuant to Iowa Code 331.4343 to amend fiscal year 25 county budget. And whereas the amendment does not increase the taxes to be collected in the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. And whereas all comments from the public have been heard. Therefore, be it resolved that the following department appropriations be changed as follows. Expenditures, Department 1 Supervisors, adding $188,940. Department 5 Sheriff, $590,650. Department 28 Medical Examiner, $5,000. Department 60 Mental Health Admin, $34,600. And Revenues, Department 1 Supervisors, $46,141. Department 60 Mental Health Admin, $34,600. Department 99 Non-Departmental, $457,000. By service area, penalties, interest and costs on taxes, $5,000. Intergovernmental, $121,960. Charges for service, $7,281. Use of property and money, $403,500. Public safety and service, $596,450. County environment and then environment and ed, minus $33,860, and administration, $256,600.
Thank you, Jordan. Would anyone like to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Kim has moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Clark has seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Levi?
Aye.
Mr. Dollard?
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Item number 5 is the approval of the April 12th, 2015 board meeting minutes. Did anyone see anything?
April 22nd.
April 32nd, yeah.
22nd.
No,
22nd.
22nd.
It was late on the 32nd, I'm sorry. Motion to approve.
Okay, Kim
Second.
has moved. Mr. Dollard has seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. Dollard?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Levi?
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Oh. Item number 6, the approval of resolution 2025-16 and the Iowa DOT agreement number 2025 RP 004 for project number RTC C03072-9830. Clay County Connection Phase number 2.
Good morning.
Morning,
Good
Aaron.
morning.
So this resolution is for Clay County Connection Phase 2 regarding the state recreational trails grant that we received last fall. Standard agreement that we've been doing with the DOT for years with state rec trail funds. $520,000.
Right. Nice little amount.
It's all right. We'll take it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you, Levi.
You want me to read the resolution?
Well, yeah, may as well.
Resolution by the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors, Resolution 2025-16. Whereas the Dickinson County Trails Board has been approved for $520,000 in funding through the State Recreational Trails Fund for the proposed trails project known as Clay County Connection Phase 2. Whereas Dickinson County is the project sponsor and shall enter into agreement with the Iowa Department of Transportation for the administration of said state recreational trail funds through the Dickinson County Trails Board. Now therefore, let it be resolved that the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors authorizes Chairperson William Leopold to sign the Iowa Department of Transportation agreement for a state recreational trails project.
Now I'm in.
Okay, thank you, Levi.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Levi?
Aye.
Mr. Dollard?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
And Bill is aye. And item number 7 is to approve resolution 2025-17 and Iowa Economic Development Authority CAT agreement number 25-CAT-013 for Clay County Connection phases 1
And two.
And two.
and 2. Would you like to read the resolution?
Resolution by the Dickens County Board of Supervisors, Resolution 2025-17. Whereas the Enhanced Iowa Board has awarded a grant of $500,000 to Dickinson County for recreational trail segments known as Clay County Connection Phase 1 and Phase 2. Whereas the Community Attraction and Tourism CAT grant agreement shall be made by and between the Enhanced Iowa Board and Dickinson County. Now therefore, let it be resolved by the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors authorizes the execution and delivery of the Community Attraction and Tourism CAT grant agreement and such other documents as the Enhanced Iowa Board may reasonably request. Let it also be known that Lori Peterson, County Auditor, is duly authorized to execute the agreement and such other documents that are required from Dickinson County.
Very good. Is there anything you wish to tell us about this?
Standard agreement with these two, we did one last year with the $200,000 we got for that last segment to Lake Park. Doc and Scott Trace, so
Okay.
fairly similar to, it's different than the DOT, but same concept with dealing with Iowa, state of Iowa.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Levi moves.
Second.
Go ahead.
Let the old guy. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Hearing none. Levi?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Mr. Dullard?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
I'll just have to sign those quick.
Did you tell her $50
Sign.
autograph? I heard.
Aaron, you're supposed to be with Megan and then after that. I'll just call you.
Yeah, that's fine.
This won't go away.
No.
So. Okay. That's something about how much you can be in there. You get Greg there at 7. He can get me there at 7. He can get Greg there at 7. Even fourth or fifth time he's tried to come. Talk to you guys. Huh?
I think every month. Fridays here.
Okay. No,
Or maybe there might have been January.
I'll be there. I'll be there, but I just want to talk more about him. I mean, he came to ours and it's. You know, I thought that was the end of it.
Donata.
Yep, okay, thanks. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Aaron.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks, Aaron.
There are no drainage claims this week, so we can go on to number 9, the approval of the supervisor's summer schedule. Have anything on that?
So, I mean, usually in the summertime for the supervisors, it goes to, just on the days that the claims are due. I would say every other, but it technically is every other except for there is a 5th Tuesday in July. So I have the dates that we would be meeting as June 10th and 24th, July 8th and 22nd, and August 12th and 26th. And again, those dates are chosen because that's when claims would be approved. June 10th and 24th, July 8th and 22nd, and August 12th and 26th, the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month. So there will be a lay in between July 22nd and August 12th. If there's anything pressing that we would need to meet for some reason, then we'll let you guys know, but otherwise that's the tentative schedule.
Motion to approve.
Kim moves.
Second.
Levi seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, Kim.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Discussion of lower car, Mr. Rose.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
As we discussed at the last meeting, we had received 4 additional requests from FEMA. I just want to kind of go over each one. Actually, the first 2 are items that need to be recalculated by the University of Iowa. So we sent that to them and they're working on it this week. Nathan Young was gonna give me an update later this week where he's at with that stuff. The third and fourth items, the third item is a mailing or notification that we have to send to each of the affected property owners. John Miller has gone through and revised that based on the FEMA's comments. So that letter is ready to go. The fourth item we can't finish in-house yet because we still need information from the University of Iowa to include that information to our rebuttal for that fourth item. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Thank you. Now for the engineers.
Yes, we get 7 items this morning. The first item is to approve request for repairs on DD 32, tile not draining in Direct County Forces to complete the repair. Costs about $2,000.
Motion to approve.
Kim has moved.
I'll second.
Levi seconded. Further discussion? As there is none, Kim.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Second item we have this morning is to approve request for repairs on DD 28 for a tile blowout in Direct County Forces to complete the repair. The cost will be under $2,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Clark moves, Mr. Dullard seconds. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Levi,
Aye.
and Bill is aye.
Item number 3 this morning is approved request for repairs on DD 21 branch 71A for a tile blowout in Direct County Forces to complete the repair, which I've estimated to be under $1,500.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mr. Dullard moves,
I'll second.
Kim seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Item number 4 is approved request for repairs on DD 35, branch 44 for a tile blowout in Direct County Forces to complete the repair for a cost of less than $1,500.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Clark moves,
Second.
Levi seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Item number 5 is also on DD 35, since approved request for repairs on DD 35 for a tile blowout in Direct County Forces to complete the repair, less than $1,500.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Clark moves,
I'll second.
Mr. Dullard seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Item number 6 is approved request of repairs on joint drain district number 2, branch 60 for tile blowout in Direct County Forces to complete repair, less than $2,000. This is also subject to approval by Osceola County, which I have submitted to their county engineer for approval at their board meeting next week.
Motion to approve.
Kim moves,
Second.
Clark seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, Kim.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Item number 7, we had sent out for bids for the bulk hire repair on drainage district number 19. We received 1 bid from Diamond Concrete, so we're looking to approve a quote from Diamond Concrete on the DD 19 bulkhead repair. The cost would be $16,601.
Motion to approve.
Kim moves,
Second.
Mr. Clark seconds. Further discussion?
Just. Is that something that we bid out or Diamond is just our,
You bid it out and that's the bid they got. Only got one bid.
oh, okay,
I sent it out to like 3 to 5 different contractors. I think it's like 5 different contractors and similar bid that we received.
okay.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Great question.
Most just get done
Okay.
within hours.
Okay. Kim,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
and Bill is aye.
I've got a couple of information things for you. Joint District number 61, northeast of Terrell. I met with a property owner that showed another spot and we had some slough in the drainage ditch. I talked to Beck Engineering. It's too late to get it on the FEMA schedule, but we're gonna make it part of the plan and just have the county pay for that repair right there. The other one I have is we're looking to advertise for a seasonal part-time person. So hopefully get in the paper by next week and I'll bring back the person's name. You guys just approve. Thank you, board.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff. Okay, so we can DD 15.
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 12 is DD 15 tile repair. Anyone here for that? Thank you, Al.
Did I send you guys that attachment? I think I did, right?
It didn't, I've got.
Yep, I sent it.
I'd like one, please.
I sent it on Monday, the 28th.
Yeah, so morning, everybody. So, yeah, this is, there was a repair request in DD 15, and that's the drainage district that's. On kind of on the south side of Lake Park and extending southward. We had done the most recent stuff that we had done on that district was some tree clearing where there's trees growing over top of the tile. So this is a separate, kind of a separate issue more north in the watershed, and if you looked at that. Stuff that I sent out, there's a couple maps there, but there's some land that the United States government owns. It's Fish and Wildlife and DNR kind of have some involvement there. It's a wetland area, and a lot of the district tile run through that area. It's kind of just on the south side of Highway 9 there. And adjacent landowners, John Elser's here. And we met out there, I think, early April, and there's several holes that you could see over the main tile. And then there was a couple laterals that looked like they had problems. One thing with the main tile, so that area is really, there's not a lot of cover over the tile. It's peat ground, and then also. Basically, the tile is way too small, and there was an improvement project several years ago that was proposed, but it ultimately, I think it met remonstrance, so it didn't end up moving forward. But so the tile is really inadequate. And then also, as you get north of Highway 9, like you get in this flat, low area and the tile's really flat. And then once you get north of Highway 9, you start gaining in a lot of elevation. And so then that allows some of that water from the north into a tile that's really too small to push with some power. And that peat soil and it's not much cover. Actually, there's times where it looked pretty obvious that there was times where water would push out between the cracks in the tile and push out of the ground. And so it comes out, and then when it can get back in, it'll go back in, and it may take some dirt with it. So there's spots that look like, oh, maybe it's busted here or something, but I don't know, I'm not. We didn't see, did we see any spots, John, that were actually broken on the main tile? I don't recall seeing that.
No, just a lot of suck holes to it and depressions.
Yeah.
That, just like you said, I think it's pushing water out, sucking it back in and taking in water with it at the same time.
Yeah, so to really to fix that, the issue is not, I mean, it's not something that you can really fix other than putting in a bigger tile or moving it out of the wetland area or, you know, those sorts of things. But if you dig it up and just put fabric over the joint or something, it's just gonna find a different place to push out. So really, at this point with the main tile, as far as the repairs, I think we leave it alone. With these two laterals, branch 7 and 8. Branch 7, it was quite full of dirt. So that really needs to be addressed. And then branch 8, kind of in the northeast part of that Fish and Wildlife property, there was apparently a problem there that right around where the tile is at, there's water sitting and it looks like there's a problem. So basically, and I talked to John and he remembered that somebody had done some work up on this branch 8 prior, and Doug Block he's a contractor, had worked on it before. So I called him to see if he'd be interested or willing in coming back to look at these. He did kind of want to make sure that it wasn't going to be some significant thing on the main tile, because I think he knew that would be trouble. But I said, no, that's not really what we're probably looking at this time anyways. So that's what I'm recommending, is having Doug go out and investigate these two branch tile and make appropriate repairs. And then as far as the main tile, you know, there are some concerns about maybe the condition of it, because it's in this wet peat soil and then it freeze thaws all the time. And we might consider running a camera like we did further on south at DD 15, that we can, like a crawler camera that you can get a video recording that everybody can see. The difficult thing about that is that this is peat ground, and typically the trucks that they use that have these cameras on them are pretty big. And so even when it's fairly dry out there, I'm afraid they're gonna sink in quite a bit. So really, if we want to do that, I'd recommend kind of waiting until practically this winter. When the ground starts to freeze up, but they could still dig a hole to get access to the tile to get the camera in. But it would have a better chance of holding that truck up.
What are the powers to be that have the government property? What are they saying about?
Yeah, so they've been really cooperative. I mean, when we met out there, both Fish and Wildlife and the DNR had people there, Chris LaRue and Ed Meendering, I think. I don't know if that's how you say it, but we're both out there. There's and I think Jeff had been contacting him before I got involved, and Fish and Wildlife has issued a special use permit, basically giving the blessing for us to be able to go out there and fix the tile, do the tile work. So there's no issues as far as that goes. We will, if we're gonna go out there, like they've signed off on it, we will need somebody on the board to sign that permit so that it's fully executed. But
The challenge is though, they give us permission to do that, but they don't help pay for it.
that's correct. And that was one of
That's how it
the,
works.
that's one of the, I can talk a long time about the unfortunate situation that this district is in, because that's one of the things that I think hurt the chances of doing an improvement, is that the
Agreed.
United States government owns quite a bit of land, and they refuse to pay drainage assessments. So on that property, then that that significant bill that they would have gotten, everybody else has to pick up. You know, that tab.
Well, it sounds to me, are you suggesting that, it sounds to me the best fix for this would be to get Doug Block to come out, take a look at it and repair what we can repair.
Yeah. On the branch,
On branch 78.
Yes, yep.
I'll
that's-
make
that's what
that
I-
motion.
Okay, Kim has moved.
I think he has his own.
I don't know if he goes back corporation or
Yeah, I don't-
anything.
All right, Bill.
Did you get the motion written down? Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Clark seconds. Is there further discussion?
To really fix that, Kyle, we would need to go all the way through that Fish and Wildlife and DNR ground with a non-perforated tile for the main and the laterals till it got outside their ground. Is that correct?
Well. I don't know that would, I mean,
Well, if it
define
would,
fix, I guess.
if you re-engineered it and upsized it and, you know, put bigger non-perforated tiles through that area
And got it out of that peat area.
and got it out of that peat area,
Yeah,
But there again,
it's pretty expensive.
it's very expensive and it comes back to the landowners because the DNR is not gonna be part of that.
Yeah,
and actually, you know, this is weird to say, but if you force it to stay in that tile. Actually, it being able to come out of the tile maybe helps the people downstream a little bit more. I don't know, it all kind of equalizes, but it's not good that it's going in and out of the cracks between the tile.
No.
But it would be quite expensive just to do that, and I don't know, I don't think it'd be worth it.
Okay.
It's gonna be, at some point in time in the future, there's gonna be tough decisions because that tile is probably not gonna last forever. It's getting battered up.
mhm.
But an improvement is really costly and you need something a lot bigger than what's out there now. But do you spend a ton of money on something like what you're talking about? At least right now, if it's working, we're probably gonna leave it. But at some point in time, a decision like that might have to be made, which would be unfortunate to put the same size tile when it really should have 10 times the capacity
Mhm.
of what it's got now. So to spend any significant amount of money on that would seem unfortunate.
I think that's the big challenge, though, and the other part of that is some of this drainage district is in the city of Lake Park.
Yeah,
And I remember that last one where it got remonstrance. I think the one church had a $42,000 hit on them.
Yeah.
So they weren't in favor, obviously, of that. But I mean, that's the challenge, right?
yeah.
That you have with this DD 15. So it's tough.
Can I ask a question, Bill? Oh, sure. Okay, thank you. So because this is a wetland area, would there be any wetland preservation grants or anything that might help in this drainage district?
That's something I could maybe ask. I could ask about.
Would it be worth researching or?
Yeah, the thing is, so they probably don't mind having it wet, obviously.
True point.
But on the other hand, you have runoff coming into that wetland
Sure.
and which causes a lot of silt filtration, silt
Yeah.
coming. So I mean, that's kind of important to keep those wetlands clean. Or
Well,
cleaner. Or
Wetlands,
dry.
wetlands help clean the water.
They do, but
So it's probably working in that capacity because surface runoff from the north and other places can run in there and then it can kind of sit and filter out. But yeah, that's something maybe I should look into a little bit, at least on the onset. I don't want to get people's hopes up
right,
because tile drainage and wetlands don't always play well. They've got different goals.
Yep.
But there are times where you can do things that are helpful to both. You know, you can use water to fill up a wetland so that you don't have to have as big a tile to drain the rest of the land. So maybe it's at least worth checking into.
Yeah, one idea you could probably do is a permanent water wetland and have some storage in there, so when there is a big push, it's got some detention capability in there too before
Right.
it's released.
Right, and that, yeah, I'd have to talk with Fish and Wildlife
Yeah,
to
to
see
see
if
if
they'd
they're up
even
for
be
it.
interested in something like that. The other thing is, as far as the district tile, putting a permanent pool over this existing tile, unless we were gonna move it around and they'd help pay for that, but the existing tile that's there really shallow and then put permanent pool of water, you'd never be able to get in there to do anything. It'd be, yeah, I think we'd have to move the tile out of there if we were gonna do that, but there's possibilities there. But at least for today, those two branch tile, if we could get those dug in there to take a look and make repairs, then at least those would be working even though the main is trouble. Anything else?
Can I make a couple comments?
Yeah, John.
Anybody that knows tile knows that once the main receives it, it should carry it on down to the outlet. The way this is running, it's kind of like lungs, it's gonna breathe in, it's gonna breathe out, it's pushing water out, it's pushing water in, it's sucking dirt with it. As flat as that grade is in there with the dirt that's missing, I can't believe that there wouldn't be a lot of dirt in this, and a camera, I think, would make the most sense to see what is actually in that tile, if it's got a third full of dirt or if it's cracked in spots. And I had a landlord once that we had a main, and back in 2019, we had a main, private main blowout. And he was in his upper 70s and he's like, at my age, why am I putting a new tile into this spot? And his younger brother, just a little bit younger than him, says to him, we gotta use this tile for free for the last 50 years. And now it's our turn to pay to use for the next generations of farming. And it's kind of where we're at on this tile, Colin had said back in the 60s, or was it late 60s, something, it was brought up to update this tile then. And if we knew that cost back then, we'd be willing to pay it today. I mean, it's, we're pushing it down the line. I don't know, looking at, if you're gonna bring it to a petition, it's never gonna go. I mean, just like you said, the church gets it. I guess I'm wondering at what point is there a point that the supervisors just say has to happen to make this viable drainage for this area? I farm in Osceola County. One of my landlords, we hooked a tile in with a blowout to pattern tile in 80. And of course, it was a county tile, so we put it right in the ditch and blew out on him. And he just went to the supervisors there and said, your county tile isn't big enough, and they voted to upgrade it. I mean, that's just the way it was. I don't know what other boards do in other counties. But, to get adequate drainage, it's not gonna go through on a petition ever. But
We are trustees for the drainage district, and you have an opportunity for remonstrance. That's the law.
Okay.
And so for us to just say, yeah, we're gonna do that, we don't own that land. We're just trustees.
Okay.
So you have to have a say in it.
Yep.
And I understand that you wanna run a camera through there. That's great, but that's gonna be an additional expense to something you've already said, it's gotta have dirt in it.
Yep.
It's gotta be stopping it. So let's have this block, take a look at it and see what it's gonna take to repair it.
It's a Band-Aid fix is all it is. I mean, I know that.
We get that,
Yeah.
but again, the owners of the property get the final say.
Yes.
We're the trustees. We can only go with what the owners tell us they want.
Further discussion.
Well, when you run that down, are you gonna check the main through there when you check these two branches?
As far as what we're gonna look at with Doug, it's just gonna be limited to those two branches.
Okay.
If we, I talked about that before, if we wanted to camera the main tile, we can do that. I don't know if we need to take action on that today, but because I don't even have a cost set, I don't have anybody lined up or anything, but we'd probably wait until this winter to do that. There was a couple intakes and there were spots where we could see down in there, just at one or other point. And when you look down in there at those points, it didn't have dirt in it. It seemed to be running clean, but, yeah, I would guess that there's probably quite a bit of misalignment, and we don't know if there's these grasses that are growing over shallow tile, if there's much for grass roots in there that could be doing something, and dirt. So I guess the camera thing to investigate the main tile, is probably a separate deal, and I can come back to that. Like, I'll put it on my calendar to contact somebody and get a cost estimate.
Just looking at your topographical map, and it's pretty big and flat through there.
Yes,
Good.
With a lot of the remonstrance that was done before due to the annexation of lands in Osceola County.
I don't think that was
No.
this district,
Cost.
It was cost.
yeah.
But is there anything associated with the annexation of including those Osceola lands, if there is a benefit to that?
I don't think there's any Osceola County lands and. I
No,
think
but that was one of the talks when we did DD 15, was that some of the benefit was in Osceola County. And they did not want to make it into a joint district.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
I'm thinking that's what it was when Rick was there. And maybe I'm thinking another district, because there's a
I think
lot of
you are.
drainage going on
I
right
think you
now.
are, because 15 is south of Lake Park, or Lake Park and south, and it's not,
But wasn't there some of it
I
that,
don't
because,
think anything on 15
I don't know.
goes over into Osceola County.
no, but there was some benefit to there, and we had conversation about making it into a joint district. And we tried to figure out a way, if there was a way to include those lands and how we could do the billing. But then I think there was discussion on not doing that, but I think that was I feel like that was maybe part of the remonstrance was Osceola lands.
No. This was all cost.
I'm pretty sure, Jordan, that was a different drainage.
I am too.
Had to do with the ditch.
Mhm.
I couldn't name it, because that was Rick working on it.
Okay.
No, if there's no other discussion.
So just so that Doug Block is going to investigate branch 7 and 8 to make repairs and to have a camera go into the tile to see if there's any,
No, just.
Just Doug Block,
Yeah,
just Doug
so we're
Block.
not doing the camera.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't have a price or anything lined up for that, so I wanna get it from somebody and have it. Get that.
I'm done, Bill.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, since the discussion is over, Kim,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Levi,
Aye.
Mr. Dollars.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Thanks, Colin.
Okay, next on our agenda is general discussion, board and committee report. Kim?
At a recycling commission meeting, the regional collection center has been busy. Charles said they're gonna have a lot of compost and wood chips available if folks are in need. They're gonna start doing some grinding again out there, so they're busy. The landfill also has been busy with litter pickup. Got a crew that's going along the road there, and we always like to see them help with that. Use has been steady. They also say a lot of folks are now using the cardboard recycling drop off, which is out there. It's free to folks. And it's a nice addition to our recycling. Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday night, I watched the long Board of Adjustment meetings here. I watched it live stream on YouTube. I thank all the folks that were involved with that. I want to remind all of our employees about the wellness program that is going on. please complete your online well-being survey. It takes less than 10 minutes to do. And also remember to schedule your physician's wellness physical. We're all in this together to save 5% on our insurance premiums for healthcare. That's all I have.
Given the cost of insurance, 5% is a good chunk of change.
We didn't go up this year because of this, so I would certainly consider doing physical.
Mr. Dullard.
Do the best I can. I'm gonna just pretty much read it because my voice seems to be going in and out here the last few weeks. On Tuesday, 22nd, I had a Zoom meeting with Upper Des Moines, and we went over this 71 pages worth of stuff. I brought it just in case anybody wants to read through it. It's we went through that. The main bulk of it is their job descriptions for each one of them. That's excuse me, doing the on the group. On April 24th, I attended the veterans meeting that Spring puts out. It was well attended. And in the afternoon, I attended the recycle meeting with Kim. On Saturday, April 26th, I worked at church food pantry. It was pretty busy. April 28th, 29th, and the 30th, I attended the public meetings on the Red Rock Wind Project at the Board of Adjustments. Bill and I had the Veterans Committee meeting on Wednesday, the 30th, and they discussed several issues, which I'll let Bill cover. In the past week, as I mentioned, the Board of Adjustments meetings where they approved the Red Rock Wind Project. I think it's now time to discuss and take action to pause further actions via moratorium. We were all elected to this board and are co-equal board supervisors, urging that this be placed on next week's Board of Supervisors agenda to discuss and act on the matter. I feel it's a serious issue and needs to be discussed and acted on by this Board of Supervisors. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clark.
The only official meeting I had was the Yes Board meeting down in Cherokee last Friday. The Yes Board the facility has been quite busy. They're averaging about 13 clients per day out of their 15 beds. Some days they're full, some days they're not, but the average 13 tells you that they're pretty close to full all the time. Transportation requests are continuing to go up, and so they're doing all right. They're making money and stuff, but it's just they're hoping for some leadership from the state on the issue of the different regions and so on, and how they're gonna be compensated. So we'll see how that all works out. That's all I had officially. Had a lot of calls on road conditions and went out and drove some roads and looked at them and a lot of things like that, but no big problems. Talked to the shop foreman a couple times, so everything's working out, like one of the shop foremen told me, you have a 50-50 chance when you grade a road and start to pull shoulders off, 50% chance it's gonna rain and there's a 50% chance it won't. And if it doesn't rain, you're okay, and if it does rain, you got a mess for a few days till it dries out again, and you just can't, the odds are not with you, so you do what you can.
Sounds good. Levi.
I also attended the meetings on the 28th, 29th, and 30th, the Board of Adjustments, both in person and online. I do wanna, I appreciated the fact that it did get moved and recorded online. I thought that was a nice adjustment made at the last moment there. So thank you for that. Really tried to absorb those 3 days the best that I could. Still learning, the policy procedure, how things work, Iowa code. It was very good for me to experience it. It generated more questions. I think it's gonna help me ask better questions moving forward on how these things work, what to expect. It was clear the passion that the people have on both sides of the topic. It was a very good learning experience for me. But I agree with Mr. Deller that something I think needs to be done sooner than later. And again, learning policy and procedure, I'm not sure what my words are with that, but I would love to discuss it as a board. And see what we can do or how this works. On Thursday, I went to the ECI meeting and our director, Aaron, had mentioned that, you know, we're working on moving to districts. And that there's House File 623 that was being debated on Friday last week. And that they're trying to put in an amendment to House File 623, extending the timeline of the implementation from moving ECI into districts a year later, so in July 1st of 2026 versus 2025. And so as of today, I don't have any updates on that, but that is something that they're really pushing for, just to delay that transition for ECI. And then today I have a couple meetings with citizens this afternoon in Milford, and then one again tomorrow. People are reaching out, they have questions, and a lot of it I think is just they want an ear to get after, so I'm gonna do my best to listen. I'm gonna go to the Taxpayer Association meeting on Thursday this week, and then we have a Trails meeting on Friday. And obviously as RAGBRAI is ramping up, and as Aaron had mentioned, there's all kinds of projects going on, so I'll get an update on the trails.
Okay, thank you. As for me, as Mr. Dullard said, we met with the veterans group. What happened there? Well, they were supposed to tell the group people that they had contacted to get money for the new Veterans Memorial. And only Terry Heidebrink had done that. He had contacted 60 people. Then there was discussion again, well, do we allow people to have 2 and 3 years to make their pledge? There was discussion about where do we put the money while we wait? And it turned out a CD over at State Bank. Terry then quit his position as chairman of that group. Apparently, there's been some tension between he and 2 or 3 others on the board. So they picked a new chairman who I won't mention because he said his wife would kill him if he did take on another job. What am I forgetting here to say?
They voted in the new guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he took it.
but we can't mention him because his wife
Yeah,
will kill him.
that's exactly right. He said, made that very clear.
So that was my official thing I did last week. Did make a lot of calls to Aragon and whatnot on another matter, but that was it. Okay, I see coming up.
Can I ask, did you talk about number 10, the FEMA?
We did.
Did you? Okay,
Yes.
it was quick then, cause
It was the first thing Jeff
Okay.
talked about.
We talked about it.
pardon?
It was the first thing Jeff talked
Okay,
about.
sorry, Jeff,
He went through the whole process.
I must have zoned out for a minute, sorry about that.
Okay, I see on our agenda, we are to have a closed session. Mr. Goodlow, why would we do that?
Before I do that, I want to tell the public that this evening, Dickinson County Treatment Court is going to graduate their second graduate. This person has done phenomenal, has her life in order, and we're very proud of her. What she's done. So we are making progress. We have a second graduate this evening.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. A governmental body may hold a closed session only by a affirmative vote of all members present. The governmental body may hold a closed session only to the extent that the closed session is necessary. In this case, it's under Iowa Code Section 21.5, sub 1, sub C, to discuss with counsel a matter presently in litigation or litigation is imminent, where disclosure would likely prejudice or disadvantage or create a disadvantage to the governmental body.
Is there Any board member that would like to go into closed session?
Motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Clark moves,
I'll second.
Kim seconds. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Levi,
Aye.
and Bill is aye. We will now be going into closed session, so if you people could remove yourselves, it would be appreciated.
You wanna
Well, do
stay?
you think any motion will come out of your session?
Maybe.
Something worth you staying for?
Probably not. I
Okay.
mean, I know it's not, I don't think this is something you're passionate about, Ms. Kay,
Okay,
but-
thank you.